Did you know that Portuguese adventurers secretly discovered and mapped Australia 250 years before Captain Cook? It's a version of history that's generated much media attention in Portugal. Canberra journalist and now author Peter Trickett claims to have the evidence, and he's written a book to prove it. He spoke with Melissa Polomini.
Lesson 1 in White Australian history. British explorer Captain James Cook discovered Australia in 1770. Or did he? We've known for a while that the Dutch arrived here before him, but what about the Portuguese?
Well, just about all established academics have written at some stage or another that the idea of a Portuguese discovery is, well, sort of a load of rubbish, really, that it's totally wrong. And well, it's not. It can be proved now to be correct.
Peter Trickett is so convinced it happened, he's written a book about it.
I have great admiration for Captain Cook because he was a fantastic, skilled captain and navigator, and, you know, his achievements in no way lessened by the fact that, quite unknown to him, a Portuguese fleet had sailed along the same coast in the opposite direction some 2.5 centuries previously.
He says the first European to discover Australia was Christopher de Mendonça, who led a small Portuguese fleet in the year 1522.
These were quite amazing feats at their time, that ships of that era could navigate so far on an extremely difficult, perilous voyage. I mean, when, as is clear from the maps, they were right down on the south coast of Australia, you know, in the vicinity of Kangaroo Island and present-day Adelaide, it was a bit akin to the first astronauts on the moon. You know, that was the degree of difficulty. And as with the moon astronauts, if any disaster at that point of time, there would have been absolutely no hope of rescue. They would have been finished.
So this is the Vallard Atlas, and this is what started it all for you?
That's right, yes. I came across this quite by chance on the remainders table at a Canberra city bookshop when I was on my way home from work one day, and it absolutely intrigued me.
The original 16th century Vallard Atlas contains more than a dozen hand-drawn maps of the world, as it was then known to the Europeans.
We can see at the top half there's something very much resembling the coast of present-day Queensland and northern New South Wales. And we might just stop for a moment and look. There, indisputably, is Fraser Island. You can't really deny that at all. It's when we come to this strange feature here, which I call the Great Eastern Promontory, that we really run into some problems. Suddenly it veers off 1,000 kilometres approximately to the east and then comes back again.
So how do you explain that?
Well, my theory was based on the way it's known that the Portuguese drew their seaboard charts on animal hide skins called portolans, and these were stretched on a drum in a square, but clearly they were, being goat skin or sheepskin squares, they were of limited size. So we can be quite sure there were at least 3, maybe 4 portolans were put together by the French, who ultimately compiled these maps. But my theory was that here, at this point, the 2 portolans were joined. This is the southernmost one, and they were joined wrongly. We rotated the bottom section, the southern portolan, through 90 degrees on computer, and this was the result. Now, I think one can see straight away the resemblance, the clear resemblance to the shape of eastern and southeastern Australia. And when we then came to look at the names on the map and the geographical features that came into focus when we did this, it became absolutely clear that the theory was correct.
Peter Trickett publicou livro em que...
Peter Trickett hasn't had trouble persuading the Portuguese to believe him. He's been the star of local television there.
On these maps we also have well over 100 place names.
His mission now to convince wary Australians.
The feedback I've had from readers has been very positive and very encouraging, and some have even given me some possible new leads on interesting aspects which might relate to the voyage.
But the academics haven't been as impressed, have they?
Well, I haven't heard anything actually from any academics since the book was published. There's been no attempt to discredit it, which may speak for itself.